Why do you do that thing that you do? Maybe it's waking up 9 to 5 and going to work to earn the paycheck. Maybe it is literally living your dream. Maybe you are doing exactly what you were made to do. And on the flip side of that, why don't you do the thing that you wish you were doing? What's holding you back? A lot of people wanted to know why I was interested in doing this, flying in a tin can by myself, or hoping to by myself one day. And there's a lot of reasons not to do something like this. But I've always had a strong desire and a strong fascination with aviation, which is why from the time of being a kid, I always loved video games with airplanes. Into my teenage years, I was that master Call of Duty or Battlefield helicopter pilot that could just lead the scoreboards just by getting in a little Huey and doing my thing. And as an adult, my wife and I share the hobby of RC aviation in hopes to maybe one day jump in an airplane. But of course, there's so many factors in life that keep us from doing the things that we want to or dream of doing. So finally, Abby, my wife, encouraged me to jump in the co-pilot seat and actually in the pilot and command seat and learn to fly, because we heard that my instructor, the only local instructor, would be retiring in the spring. And to be very, very, very clear, and I hope that everybody hears me loud and clearly, because in the first video that we posted about in my exploratory flight, or people have different names for that, a lot of people really questioned financially, how could we morally do this when in a fairly recent video we said, hey, Abby just had a gallbladder surgery and, you know, money is tight, so if you're going to buy an RC, buy it through our link, right? So we're saying, hey, the money's not there, please help us. This happened my first few flights that you guys have watched, and that actually basically all the flights up to her gallbladder surgery were before that happened. Before her gallbladder surgery, we had a little money set aside that I could take the time to learn how to fly. Not necessarily buy an airplane, but learn how to fly and hopefully get my pilot's license. So again, you'll notice Abby, you can't see her right now, she's wearing a big heavy winter coat. I am bundled up, and in the video you're about to watch, it's my second flight. And actually it's really cool because my teacher let me start the engine on my own. You know, after doing a full flight and discussion of how to do it and everything, he actually let me jump in and turn those keys, and he was not even in the airplane. So it was a very cool experience. The audio is still hard to hear because once that engine starts to roar up, we were just using the equipment that we had on hand. Still wanted to make sure this was something we really enjoyed, or that I really enjoyed and wanted to do before I invested more money in like audio equipment or anything like that. So it's a little hard to hear, but I know that there's a lot of people on our channel that have either are into full-scale aviation and RC, a huge number of people, way more than I realized. Or there's people that fly RC planes and want to do exactly what I'm doing. And so I think it's a learning experience for everybody. And that's why we're sharing it. So this video is my second flight. I did my initial like exploratory flight. Hey, are you gonna throw up every time you fly? Well, no. Did you enjoy it? Yes. So let's start learning to fly. So it gets a little bit more serious on the second flight. And just it gets more routine, kind of beating the stuff into my head, and that's what happens for numerous flights after this one. But this was a really good flight too. I'll do my best to keep the parts that you can hear and maybe find interesting, and I'll probably have to cut out some that's just really hard to hear too. But hopefully you enjoy some of this video. I know it's not our usual content, but there's a lot of interest in me posting more about it. So without further ado, let's get right in the airplane. Harry tells me to start the plane by myself. So here we go. Feet on the brakes. Mag switch on, right, left, both. We have our master. Master is all on. Clear prop. Woo! Starting an airplane by myself. Come on. Just did that. Should I throttle up a little just because?
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah, after start. Okay, bring it up about 800, 900.
Okay.
See, it's a little smoother now.
Yeah, right. I'm a little worried about knowing how to do this, Harry. That's the only thing that
It's just a mixture control.
Yeah, but
if you stay below a couple thousand feet or something, then it can just stay full in. But because I know where it leans out a little bit when we fly, that saves a little bit of fuel.
You know, because from experience.
Yeah, but I mean, you could run around all day with it right there with her thing.
Okay.
But doing these tours, I pulled out a little bit, saved a little bit of fuel.
Okay.
There's the weight and balance sheet.
Okay.
This has to be at the airplane at all times. Every little station has what we call a weight and the arm. How far it comes from the firewall up here. And that's how you can get your weight and balance.
Okay.
This little document is worth about $200 to $300.
Wow.
And the owner's manual must be in here at all times, right here.
Okay.
And they thought this hob meter is how you determine the engine time.
You sure we are okay on fuel?
Yep.
It's just a little low.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. You know your plane.
I do?
Yeah, well, better than I do.
Now, turn the elevation of the airport here is about 960. So here's,
I see.
That's 1,100, 1,050, 1,025, 1,000 feet. There's 950, 960 is just a little bit past the 9. So 960 feet above elevation.
Is each dash 5?
Yeah. So this is 50 feet increments. In here be a 25.
Yes.
So if you get it within, 25, 30. The wind is coming from where?
Nothing.
Out of the southeast. So we're going down. Just to give you a difference here. We're going down taxi takeoff runway 9. So see, 9 is this way right here. If we get down the runway, it'd be pointing over here. We're taking off from the west. It'd be pointing there. So okay, just show you. Let's go with me here a bit. Give me just a little bit of throttle. If you want to do this, you check around, go and kind of use a big circle, because the more you hit the brakes, so you use a whole big circle. Make a check. We're looking on nobody on final, downwind, base final. Okay, we're looking down here. Nobody's coming over here, making the base and final. So we're going down to runway 9. Here's what you say. Back taxi runway 9. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, back taxi runway 9.
Just think of it this way. Anytime you're taxiing anywhere, look for traffic around this entire path. Okay, keep your hand on the throttle. We're going to taxi about maybe, FAA says a fast walk.
Now, Harry, when I'm taxiing, I use my heel to push in like this.
Well, you keep your heels on the floor.
Yes, well, but I
And your toes. Now, you always want to get down and lift here.
So toes down to push, or am I pushing like this?
Yeah, just bring your toes clear up and take your heels off the floor real quick. See that? Now,
Yeah, those are brakes.
now, when you're flying, you can just leave your feet on the floor and let your, maybe the ball of your foot there push on the rudder. We want to save a lot of brakes, so I pull back on this and let it kind of slow down uphill. So now there's a little madness to my tactics there. We're going to keep the left wheel right against this grass line right here on the blacktop. Grass there. If you run off with it.
Sorry if I do.
Now a little bit of power. Keep it moving. Okay, we'll come to a stop right here. Now, what it says is you're supposed to turn in the wind in. Well, you can see we've just started the engine.
Yes.
So it's got a long time to warm up. Now, a very hot day, you just start the engine again, turn it into the wind out of these. Okay, we're going to go down through a checklist.
Okay, so seatbelts adjusted and locked?
Yep. You can ask me if I have mine on.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Brakes
Just
test and
tap
set.
like this. Just lightly hold it.
Harry, just a confirmation.
Yeah.
This movement is rudder.
Right?
This movement is
Brakes.
Okay.
And also, right rudder turns the nose right, left
Yes.
rudder turns.
Yes. Run it up 1700 RPM. So
Yep. And 2 lines past the 15 here on the table. And just lightly hold the brake.
Now this is where we throttle up to about 1700 RPMs, and we're going to hold that because our goal is to check a few things on the engine. We'll drop the left and right mag on the magneto switch to see if we have an RPM drop. If we do, and it doesn't kill the engine, it's working well. Because if you're flying and you lose a cylinder or something, you want to know that you still have like essentially half of your engine to help keep going. Kind of. That's not exactly how it works, but it's just a safety check. You also add carb heat and see if you have a little bit of an RPM drop, just to make sure everything is working properly. This is a pre-flight. You know, you're revving up the engine just to kind of check things to make sure it's going to run smoothly when you're in the air.
Look for traffic all the way around this way. You get a hold of this, keep holding a red number. Look for traffic light.
And of course, here we are on our takeoff. We do a little bit of a check. You can radio, but then you also want to kind of drive around in a circle, and we don't have a tower here or communicator, so some people don't even use their radios. The safest thing to do is to look for yourself and see if anybody's coming. So that's why we do this full circle. And I think Harry reaches over and locks his window. He's teaching me to keep my hand on the throttle. Very hard to get used to. You want to just leave it there as soon as it's at the throttle that you think it needs to be at. The reason you keep your hand on the throttle like that is because if something goes wrong, or you just bump it or sneeze or anything pulls that throttle back, you could fall out of the sky. So you want to ensure that throttle stays at full. See, I got my hand off. That's not good. I need to leave my hand on that throttle as we're climbing out, because a knee or a hand or something could bump that throttle, or who knows, it could just like vibrate and drop. You want to keep full throttle on your climb out so you don't fall out of the sky. Now we'll do a lot of coordinated turns. What that means is we bank the airplane maybe 20-30 degrees, pull back a little bit on the elevator to start that turn, and then use the rudder to make sure it's a nice smooth turn. Not just a bank and yank jarring movement, but to keep everything very silky smooth, you implement rudder into those turns. And you want to maintain the altitude you're at. You don't want to do like a 360-degree turn for practice and then come out 200 feet higher or lower. That would not be very safe. The best thing to do is to maintain altitude and have a coordinated turn. Now this is really cool. Harry starts an intentional stall, and you can hear that stall horn, and it's going to get louder because he's pushing the airplane to its extreme stall limit. It'll get even louder, and then we feel it drop, and it catches me off guard. Right here. You just feel it fall out from your stomach, you know, just you fall. But it's a great airplane for recovering from a stall. It's a really cool feeling. Right around here we lose our front-facing GoPro, so it just falls to the back. And actually that beep kind of threw me off a little bit. I know the GoPro sound, but I'm in an airplane and it was new to me, so that battery dying kind of scared me. Now at this point we'd flown for about 40 minutes or so, and we're getting ready to lower the throttle and come in for an approach to the airport. Now, there's a lot to talk about and think about on a landing, and he's showing me reference points, airspeed to consider, and the reference points are good when you're at a small airport where you're learning to fly. Maybe there's a house or a barn or a water tank, power lines, something that you can focus on at a certain point and when ready to make your turn for final or base or, yeah. You still need to know at some point distances and how to land the airplane without those reference points, but when you're learning to fly, I think those reference points are good. And now here we go. This is our actual touch and go, which is my very first touch and go. It's a weird feeling to wheels hit down and you keep rolling and power up and climb out again. Really cool. Now here we go for our final landing. And I'm really happy with the way Harry has been teaching me, because he lets me do so much hands-on and pushing me really honestly past my comfort level. I tend to do this when I'm teaching people how to fly RC planes. I'll watch them and see where they're at and realize, okay, well, they're flying in safe with flight stabilization. I think I can help them push out of safe, even just for a minute. Maybe they can try a loop or a roll. And as long as I'm standing by them, I will help them. But I think most people, a lot of times, don't realize what they're truly capable of, and we all let our minds and our mentality and life hold us back. We get complacent. We don't want to push ourselves into anything new. And even when like doing something like this, learning to fly an airplane, I think most people would be surprised how capable they would be to learn to fly it. Statistically, airplanes are safer than driving a car. And as long as you keep that safe mindset while you're in an airplane, I think that holds pretty true. So it's really cool that Harry kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone and really kind of makes me do these things, because the sooner I get my hands on it, the sooner I can learn how to do it myself. I think this is a really cool opportunity that I got to do. It's my second flight. It's the one first true training flight. I spent a lot of time in the air just pushing around the airplane a little bit to see what it can do, and listening to Harry give me guidance and point the airplane to this degree and maintain that, climb to this altitude, maintain that. And that's what a lot of that 30 or 40 minutes was in the air that you guys didn't get to see, just because the audio is so bad. You really can't hear any of it. So yeah, really cool experience, and I'm very grateful to be able to share this experience with everybody watching. And for that, I gotta say massive thanks to Abby for pushing me into doing this, especially at this time in my life, and a massive thanks to God just for the opportunity, also for keeping us safe, the timing of it all. And I know that God's timing is perfect. So getting to experience this when I did was absolutely amazing. And you'll find later, as we release more videos about God's timing and how it affected our life and all of this airplane stuff, but that's later down the road. And finally, I want to say a massive thanks to our Patreon supporters, because we couldn't do what we do as often as we do it without the support of our amazing Patreon family. So huge thanks goes out to you guys. Now at the end of this video, we'll have another video popping up if you want to check out my initial flight, my experience. I can't remember what the title of that is, but it's my very first flight in an airplane, and so that's really cool. And if you guys want to continue to see more of this, I'll do my best to post more. As Abby would say, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye. That kills the engine. Yeah. So Harry, if you...
Now look, the altimeter stayed just a little bit. It dropped about 10 feet. See, from when we took off? There we go.
Harry, if we messed with that in the air, you can kill the engine, yeah?
If you don't do it right, yeah.
Yeah.
But remember, in always makes the engine run.
Yeah.
Back makes the engine stop.
If you kill the engine in the air, is there?
You just push that in. If it's still turn around, takes right off.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, just instruments. Basically, you want to pay attention when you're going on the headings, especially here. Watch your altitudes. This is your attitude indicator, lets you know if you're turning right or left. I'll get this fixed. That's the turn quarter. It's more sensitive turning bank than that up there. So, and then the ball, keep the ball in center at all times. Balls to the right, right rudder. Balls to the left, left rudder. And of course, once in a while, take a look at your engine temperatures, oil pressures, and once in a while, check to see if we're getting a charge into the battery and all that junk.